How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As ever, it is amazing to see you. So I was asked by Thatcher 2 weeks ago a specific question on one of my videos. So I made a video when I first started my YouTube channel about working for free as a photographer. And the reason I made this video was because if you want to become a photographer, in the initial stages, you're going to have to give away a bit of free time and a bit of free elbow grease to try and build a portfolio. So what I was basically saying was, like, work for free to get your foot in the door. Like, don't permanently work for free forever. So for instance, if you want to get into photography, there's going to be a level of having to work for free to build up a portfolio as a photographer. Now, what you're also going to want to do is have that portfolio specific to the type of photography you want to do. So if you want to be a portrait photographer, go and shoot your friends and family for free. Go and do their headshots to start building up this portfolio. If you want to be a portrait photographer, don't start going taking pictures of cars and things like that, because you then won't have a portfolio of that specific type of work. So that's what the video was about. And if I use myself as an example, when I used to shoot music, I wanted to move into doing portraiture and working more one-on-one with the DJs who were playing at the events, as opposed to keep shooting the events. So what I basically had to do was give away some free headshots. So basically I got in contact with a few people and said, hey, look, I want to build a portfolio of portraits. You'll get some free press shots. I'll get to build this portfolio, the quality will be good, and we'll do it. And the first one I ever did, I made a video of, and there's a I'll put a link to the video, and it's shooting with a DJ called George Harrison, or GW Harrison. So I started to build this portfolio for free, and I also created some content around me being a portrait photographer, so I could very clearly define myself as a portrait or a press shot photographer. And that came about working for free to build out the portfolio. So the question I got from Matthew was basically, you should do a video on the steps one must take to go from doing things for free to getting into paid jobs. So what Matthew's basically saying is, I've been working for free, or you go about working for free. When is the time to start charging for your work? Now, for me, the time you need to start considering charging for your work is when people start asking for you. Now, because as soon as people start asking about the work you do, or asking how much you charge, you've created a demand for the product, okay? If you don't have a portfolio around this specific subject, and not enough people know that you do it, there's no demand for it. So you have to create that demand. So what you'll basically have to do is, go about, say for instance, I'll use myself as an example again, is, I went about building myself up this portfolio of DJs, so shooting these DJs. And then what came off the back of that is then people started asking me, like, Luke, how much do you charge for press shots? And when I was started to be asked about those prices, when I first started, I was charging like £50 for, a 2-hour shoot or whatever. And then more and more people started to ask me. I was, done a fair amount of those, went from doing nothing, charging nothing, then £50, and then more and more people were asking. I was like, well, there's quite clearly a demand for this product. It's either too cheap, it's too cheap for sort of people to keep coming to ask for it, and I can continue to work at this rate for £50, but the more and more people I shot, the better I got at taking pictures. So therefore I was like, actually the price of what I'm charging needs to reflect the quality of images that they're getting, and I refined my package, and I went and bought more equipment to be able to produce better work. So as I invest in my skill set as a photographer, and the years that gone into basically honing my craft, that's what people are paying for. They're not paying for the allocated time slot. They're paying for the 2 or 3 years experience beforehand to get to that point. So then it went from being like £50, and then it was £100 and £150, and then keeps on going up. And like my day rate is £1,000 a day. So if people want to work with me for half a day, it's £500, and that's where I've got to. And the only reason I've got to that point, Matthew, is basically once people start asking for your product, that's when you can start charging. So if I use being a wedding photographer as an example, so you go and shoot some weddings for free, you start building up this portfolio, you then have a portfolio of shooting weddings, you then go to a wedding fair, you then share it on your social media, you might pay for a bit of advertising. Once traffic starts coming to you asking about the service that you supply, that's when you start pricing. And don't start off like with a ridiculously high price straight away, because you just do not simply have the experience to compete with other people that are well established in the industry. So you have to start off relatively low, and as you build your experience and as you build your portfolio, it grows, the price should reflect that. some of the top flight photographers in the industry, you know, will charge, could charge like 30 grand a day. Now, they have been doing it for years. They've got a broad portfolio. People know what they do specifically, and they're very adept at what they do. So that's how they've got to that price point. So, you have to start off in small steps. But to answer your question very simply is, when do you charge? When people start asking for it. That's when you can charge it. And then what I do now is, like, if I want to move between different genres of work, or you start doing personal projects, and those personal projects again will be free out of your own time, but what they do is they give you ability to move between genres within photography. So for instance, if I wanted to start doing more product photography, I wouldn't be able to start charging for it straight away. I'd have to start building a portfolio. So I would take on some personal projects to go and do these, to build this portfolio, and then advertise it through my social media, and send out images to people, to relevant customers. When people come back to me and say, "Hey Luke, how much to shoot this mobile phone, or how much to shoot this product," that's when you can start charging. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question, Matthew. If anybody else that follows this channel has any other questions to ask me, stick it in the comments, get in contact with me, and I will make a specific video to answer your question. So thank you ever so much, Matthew, for interacting. I really appreciate it. Hopefully that answered your question, and I look forward to seeing you here again soon. Good luck with all your work. Take care. Bye bye.